I never thought I'd be sharing my story on social media, but here I am. My name is Nathan Mitchell, and this is how my perfect life turned into a nightmare of betrayal and deception. I'm a 32-year-old tech entrepreneur from Los Angeles, and until 6 months ago I thought I had everything figured out. My software company had just hit its first billion-dollar valuation, and I was married to what I believed was the love of my life, Madison Taylor, now my ex-wife. I met Madison 5 years ago at a charity gala in Beverly Hills. She was this stunning 27-year-old aspiring influencer with captivating green eyes and long auburn hair that seemed to catch fire in the sunset. Her infectious laugh and ambitious spirit drew me in immediately. She had this way of lighting up any room she walked into, and I fell hard and fast. Looking back now, maybe that should have been my first warning sign. Everything about her was perfectly curated, just like her Instagram feed. We dated for a year before I proposed. The wedding was exactly what she wanted, a lavish affair at the Bel Air Hotel with 300 guests and a reception that made it into several luxury wedding magazines. I was so in love that I didn't mind when she insisted on having the entire thing professionally filmed and photographed from every angle. "It's for content," she'd say, with that dazzling smile that could make me agree to anything. Our first 2 years of marriage were like a dream. We moved into a modern mansion in the Hollywood Hills with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Madison's social media presence grew exponentially, partly due to the lifestyle we could afford. I supported her ambitions, investing in her brand, hiring the best managers, and even setting up a home studio for her content creation. Her following grew from 100,000 to over 2 million in just 18 months. But success changed her. The Madison I fell in love with started disappearing behind an increasingly polished facade. Our intimate dinners were interrupted by constant photo opportunities. Our vacations became content creation trips. Even our private moments had to be Instagram-worthy. Still, I adapted, thinking this was just part of being married to an influencer. Then came Jake Sullivan, the photographer. Madison insisted she needed a dedicated professional to help elevate her brand. "Everyone in the industry has one," she argued. I agreed, wanting to support her career. Jake was supposedly one of the best in LA, known for his work with top influencers and celebrities. He had this artistic, brooding look about him. Tall, dark-haired, with tattoo sleeves, and the kind of aesthetic that perfectly matched Madison's carefully curated feed. The first red flag appeared when their photo shoot started running longer and longer. Madison would come home late, her cheeks flushed, claiming they were chasing the perfect light or creating content banks. I trusted her completely. That was my biggest mistake. The late-night editing sessions, the weekend shoots, at exotic locations, the constant text messages she claimed were just about work. I ignored all the signs. My company was taking off, and I was busy with my own success. Maybe that's why I didn't notice how Madison's content started changing. Her posts became more provocative, her captions more mysterious. There were subtle hints about living your truth and following your heart that I should have questioned. But I was blind to it all, lost in my own world of board meetings and expansion plans. Looking back, the signs were everywhere. The way she would guard her phone, the sudden password changes on her devices, the mysterious shopping bags from stores we never talked about. But when you're in love, you see what you want to see. You believe the lies because the truth is too painful to consider. If only I had known then what I know now. If only I had paid attention to the whispers at industry events or the pitying looks from her friends. But I was about to learn the hard way that in the age of social media, nothing stays hidden forever. And karma? Well, karma was about to strike with a vengeance. that would shake both our worlds to the core. Little did I know that behind her perfectly filtered photos and carefully worded captions, Madison was living a double life that would eventually destroy everything we had built together. But that's just the beginning of this story. A story about betrayal, revenge, and the price of living a lie in the digital age. The first real crack in our perfect facade appeared during a charity gala I hosted for my company's philanthropic foundation. Madison was supposed to be the evening's social media ambassador, documenting the event for her millions of followers. I remember standing at the podium, delivering my speech about technological innovation and giving back to the community when I noticed her empty seat at our table. Initially, I brushed it off. She was probably networking or creating content for her stories. But when I finished speaking and made my way through the crowd of congratulating guests, I overheard two influencers whispering near the bar. "They're probably in the studio again," one said, with a knowing smirk. "Poor Nathan has no idea." The Soy quickly changed their tone when they saw me, but their words planted a seed of doubt I couldn't shake. I found Madison 30 minutes later, emerging from the building's private photography studio with Jake. Her lipstick was slightly smudged, and her perfectly styled honey blonde hair was somewhat disheveled. She claimed they were reviewing shots from the evening, but something felt off. Jake barely met my eyes as he mumbled something about equipment and hurried away. That night marked the beginning of my awakening. I started noticing things I had previously ignored. The way Madison's phone would always be face down on tables, how she'd step out of rooms to take calls, the mysterious appointments that never seemed to appear in our shared calendar. But what really caught my attention was her changing behavior towards me. The woman who once couldn't keep her hands off me now flinched at my touch. Our intimate moments became increasingly rare, always excused by headaches or early morning shoots. She spent hours in our home gym, bought new lingerie I never saw, and started wearing expensive perfumes I hadn't gifted her. Jake's presence in our lives grew more prominent. What started as bi-weekly photo shoots evolved into daily sessions. "We're working on a major campaign," Madison would explain, her green eyes wide with practiced innocence. "This could be huge for my brand." She'd talk about Jake's artistic vision, his understanding of light and shadow, how he captured her essence in ways no other photographer could. I tried to be understanding, to be the supportive husband she'd always praised me for being. But then came the mysterious charges on our shared credit card, hotel rooms booked in the middle of the day, expensive restaurants I never dined at, boutique purchases from stores that didn't match her usual style. One evening, I decided to surprise her at a supposed beach photo shoot in Malibu. When I arrived at the location she'd mentioned, the beach was empty. No cameras, no lighting equipment, no crew. My calls went straight to voicemail. When she finally came home hours later, her explanation about a last-minute location change seemed rehearsed, too perfect, like one of her scripted Instagram stories. The final straw came during a business trip to New York. I had to return early due to a cancelled meeting and decided not to tell Madison, thinking I'd surprise her. Our house was dark when I arrived, but I could hear music coming from her content creation studio. As I approached, I heard laughter, her genuine laugh, the one I hadn't heard in months, followed by a male voice that was definitely not part of her usual production team. I stood there, hand frozen on the door handle, as reality crashed down around me. But I didn't open the door. Instead, I quietly went to my home office and poured myself a drink. That night, I made a decision. If Madison was living a double life, I would find out the truth. Not through confrontation, not through accusations, but through careful investigation. I hired a private investigator the next day, but what I didn't know then was that the truth would come from a much more unexpected source. Someone had been watching Madison's secret life unfold, documenting every betrayal, every lie, every hidden rendezvous. And soon they would make me an offer that would change everything. The perfect life I thought I had was about to shatter. But sometimes things need to break completely before they can be rebuilt. And Madison? She was about to learn that in the ball age of digital footprints, no secret stays buried forever. The email arrived on a Tuesday morning, just as I was finishing a board meeting. The subject line read, "Your wife's secret life, proof inside." Usually I'd dismiss such messages as spam, but this one was different. The sender, using the alias Digital Ghost, had attached a screenshot of a private Instagram account with a familiar face, Madison's. But this wasn't her public profile with its perfectly curated lifestyle shots. This was something else entirely. The account, Madison, After Dark, had only 50 followers, all carefully screened. The profile picture showed her in shadows, wearing an outfit I'd never seen. The bio read, "Living my truth away from prying eyes. Private content for special people only." My hands trembled as I read Digital Ghost's message. "I have access to everything. DMs, archived stories, private posts, the truth about your wife and Jake Sullivan, price $50,000 in Bitcoin." I should have been angry about the blackmail attempt, but all I felt was a cold numbness. The private investigator I'd hired had found nothing concrete in 2 weeks of surveillance, but here was someone offering what seemed to be the smoking gun. After a sleepless night, I responded to Digital Ghost, agreeing to a secure video call. The hacker, using a voice modulator and hidden behind a digital mask, explained how they'd discovered Madison's secret account. Apparently, Jake had been careless with his cloud storage, leaving a digital trail that led to this hidden world. The hacker showed me previews, innocent at first, but suggesting something deeper. Madison and Jake at private locations, timestamps matching days she'd told me she was at other events. While this was happening, Madison's behavior grew increasingly erratic. She started attending wellness retreats that seemed to have no online presence. Her public posts became more cryptic, with captions about embracing change and following your passion. One night, I heard her on the phone in our garden, whispering intensely, "We need to be more careful. He's not stupid." The private investigator's report finally arrived, confirming my worst fears. Detailed logs of Madison and Jake entering various hotels, receipts from intimate dinners, and surveillance photos that made me sick to my stomach. But it was the financial trail that proved most damning. Jake had been receiving large monthly transfers from a shell company Madison had created, supposedly for photography services. I dove deeper into her digital life, discovering a web of deception that went beyond just the affair. Madison had been systematically building a separate life, complete with a secret apartment in downtown LA. The lease agreement, which I found in her cloud storage, was signed 3 months ago. She'd been using company funds, my company's funds, to finance her betrayal. The final piece came when Digital Ghost sent me access to Madison's private messages, hours of conversations between her and Jake, planning their rendezvous, laughing about their deception. "Nathan's so focused on his company, he doesn't see what's right in front of him," she'd written. "Soon we'll have enough saved to start our own agency. Just a few more months of playing the perfect wife." Reading those messages broke something in me. The Madison I knew, or thought I knew, was gone. In her place was a stranger who had orchestrated an elaborate betrayal, using my trust and success as a shield for her infidelity. But what hurt most were the intimate details she shared with Jake about our marriage, mocking my devotion and trust. Spent a week gathering all the evidence, organizing it meticulously. Every hotel receipt, every secret message, every private photo. The hacker proved invaluable, providing timestamps and digital authentications that would make the evidence impossible to dispute. I paid the $50,000 without hesitation. It was a small price for the truth. Madison remained oblivious to my investigation, still playing the role of devoted wife and successful influencer. She even planned a huge industry event where she would be receiving an Influencer of the Year award. The irony wasn't lost on me. She would be celebrated for her authenticity and transparency while living a complete lie. As I compiled the evidence, a plan began forming in my mind. Madison had built her brand on being authentic and real, on sharing her perfect life with millions of followers. It seemed only fitting that her downfall should come in front of the very audience she'd spent years deceiving. The stage was set for a revelation that would shake the influencer world to its core. Little did Madison know, her carefully constructed house of cards was about to come crashing down, and I would be the one holding the winning hand. The week before the Influencer Awards ceremony, I met with Digital Ghost one final time. We arranged to meet in a private room at a cybersecurity conference, fitting, given the circumstances. The hacker arrived wearing a sophisticated voice modulator and face-obscuring technology. What they revealed next made my blood run cold. "Your wife and Jake aren't just having an affair," the modified voice explained, pulling up a series of encrypted files. "They've been planning this for over a year. The secret account was just the tip of the iceberg." The evidence showed Madison and Jake had been systematically siphoning money from my company through their elaborate photography billing scheme. They'd amassed nearly $2 million in a hidden offshore account. The screenshots of their private conversations revealed an even darker truth. "Once Nathan's company goes public next month, we'll have everything we need," Madison had written to Jake. "The divorce will give me half of everything, and with the evidence we've manufactured about his emotional abuse, I'll get even more in the settlement." They'd been meticulously crafting a false narrative about me, preparing for a public character assassination. I sat there, staring at the screen as years of memories replayed in my mind with new context. The times she'd insisted on recording our arguments for her personal diary. The carefully worded social media posts about maintaining strength through difficult times. Even her recent push for me to see a therapist, all groundwork for their scheme. That same evening, I received an urgent call from my private investigator. He'd discovered Madison had consulted with divorce attorneys specializing in tech industry separations. She'd already drafted divorce papers, waiting for the perfect moment, right after my company's IPO, to strike. The timing would have maximized her financial gain while destroying my reputation at my company's most crucial moment. The most shocking revelation came from Madison's private messages with her closest friend, Sarah. "Nathan's so naive," she'd written. "He actually believes I loved him. The whole marriage was a business strategy. Jake and I have been together since before I met Nathan. We knew a tech entrepreneur would be the perfect target, rich enough to fund our dreams, busy enough not to notice the truth." My hands shook as I read message after message. The woman I'd loved, the life I'd thought we shared, had been an elaborate performance. Every kiss, every intimate moment, every "I love you," all carefully choreographed steps in a long con. The Madison I knew never existed. She was a character created to deceive me. I spent the next few days in a daze, reviewing security footage from our home that Digital Ghost had accessed. Countless clips showed Madison and Jake together in our house when I was away on business trips. They'd laugh about their deception, mock my trust, and plan their future on the very couch where I'd proposed to her. The final piece of evidence arrived 3 days before the awards ceremony. Digital Ghost had uncovered a video Madison had recorded for Jake on their 1-year real anniversary. In it, she detailed their entire scheme, laughing about how easy it had been to manipulate me. "He sees what he wants to see," she giggled, holding up her wedding ring. This is just a prop in our little show." That video broke something in me, but it also hardened my resolve. I had all the evidence I needed. Financial records, private messages, video footage, and the shocking revelations about their long-term conspiracy. Now it was time to plan my response. The influencer awards ceremony would be live-streamed to millions of followers. Madison was set to receive her award and give a speech about authenticity and living your truth. The irony was almost poetic. She'd built her empire on carefully curated lies, and now the truth would be revealed in front of her entire industry. I spent the next 2 days working with my legal team, preparing for every possible scenario. The evidence was ironclad, the timing perfect. As I laid in our bed the night before the ceremony, Madison slept peacefully beside me, unaware that her carefully constructed world was about to implode. I looked at her face, still beautiful, still seemingly innocent, and felt a strange mix of sadness and determination. Tomorrow the world would see the real Madison Taylor, and her perfect influencer life would crumble in front of everyone she'd deceived. The stage was set for a revelation that would send shockwaves through social media. Karma was about to strike, and it would be broadcast live to millions. The Beverly Hills Hotel's grand ballroom was packed with influencers, industry executives, and media personalities for the annual Social Media Impact Awards. Crystal chandeliers sparkled above tables draped in white silk, each place setting perfectly arranged for the Instagram-worthy moment. Madison sat beside me in a designer red gown, her blonde hair cascading in perfect waves, completely unaware that this would be her last night as a social media queen. I'd arranged everything meticulously. The hotel's AV team had my prepared video, ready to go, and my legal team was stationed strategically around the room. Jake was there too, sitting at a table near the stage, his camera ready to capture Madison's triumphant moment. The irony wasn't lost on me. The ceremony progressed through various awards, each accompanied by perfectly rehearsed speeches about authenticity and digital influence. Madison squeezed my hand excitedly as her category approached. "Thank you for always supporting me," she whispered, and for a moment I almost wavered. Almost. "And now, for our most prestigious award of the evening, Influencer of the Year," the host announced. "This year's recipient has shown unprecedented growth, authentic connection with her audience, and unwavering dedication to transparency in social media. Please welcome to the stage, Madison Taylor." The room erupted in applause as Madison gracefully made her way to the podium. She looked radiant under the spotlights, every inch the successful influencer she'd portrayed. Her acceptance speech was flawless, full of practiced humility and inspirational messages about staying true to yourself and the importance of authentic relationships. That's when I gave the signal. The giant screens behind Madison suddenly switched from her promotional video to the evidence I'd compiled. Her secret Instagram account appeared first, followed by screenshots of her private messages with Jake. The room fell silent as her own voice filled the space, the anniversary video she'd recorded for Jake, detailing their scheme. Madison froze, mid-sentence, her perfectly composed facade cracking as she watched her secret life play out on the giant screens. The audience gasped as financial records appeared, showing the money trail of their fraud. Then came the security footage from our home, the consultation records with divorce attorneys, And finally, the damning messages about their long-con plan. "I believe in authenticity too, Madison," I said, standing up and walking toward the stage. "That's why I think your followers deserve to know the truth about their role model." My voice was steady, amplified by the microphone I'd been given. "They should know about the fake marriage, the planned divorce, the stolen money, and the years of calculated deception." The room erupted in chaos. Influencers who'd considered Madison a friend were filming everything on their phones, live streaming. Her downfall to millions. Jake tried to flee but was stopped by my security team. Madison stood frozen on stage, her carefully crafted world disintegrating in real time. "Nathan, I can explain," she stammered into the microphone, but the evidence continued to play behind her. Her own words condemned her. "Nathan's so naive. The whole marriage was a business strategy. He actually believes I loved him." Sponsors in the audience were already on their phones, no doubt instructing their teams to terminate contracts. Fellow influencers who'd appeared in Madison's content were frantically distancing themselves on social media. The hashtag, or Madison Taylor Exposed, was trending within minutes. Then came the final blow. The FBI agents I'd contacted about the financial fraud stepped forward, approaching both Madison and Jake. "Madison Taylor and Jake Sullivan, you're under arrest for wire fraud and conspiracy to commit fraud," the lead agent announced, his voice echoing through the stunned ballroom. As the agents led them away, Madison's perfectly crafted mask finally shattered. She screamed accusations, claimed I'd set her up, begged her followers not to believe it. But the evidence was undeniable, broadcast live to the very audience she'd spent years deceiving. The aftermath was immediate and devastating. Her follower count plummeted in real time as the story spread across social media platforms. Brands issued statements terminating their partnerships. Her management team resigned publicly. The perfect life she'd crafted so carefully was unraveling thread by thread. As I watched her being led away in handcuffs, her mascara streaking down her face, I felt no joy, only a profound sense of justice. The truth had finally come to light, and karma had struck with perfect timing. But this wasn't the end of the story. It was just the beginning of Madison's fall from grace, and the social media world would never be the same. 6 months have passed since the night that shook the influencer industry to its core. The fallout from Madison's exposure was more dramatic than anyone could have predicted. The story didn't just go viral, it became a cautionary tale about the dark side of social media fame and the price of deception. Madison's empire crumbled spectacularly. Her follower count dropped from 2.3 million to less than 50,000 within 24 hours. Those remaining followers stayed only to watch the train wreck unfold. Every major brand she'd worked with not only terminated their contracts but publicly denounced her. The cosmetics line she was about to launch was cancelled, costing her millions in potential revenue. Her management agency dropped her, citing irreparable breach of trust and ethical standards. The legal consequences were even more severe. The FBI's investigation uncovered additional fraudulent activities beyond what I'd initially discovered. Madison and Jake had been running similar schemes with other wealthy individuals, using their photography business as a front for money laundering. They're both currently awaiting trial, facing up to 20 years in federal prison for wire fraud, conspiracy, and tax evasion. The divorce proceedings were swift and decisive. With the overwhelming evidence of her deception and criminal activities, Madison's attempts to claim half my assets were dismissed. The prenuptial agreement I'd insisted on, which she'd reluctantly signed, claiming it showed a lack of trust, proved to be my financial salvation. She left the marriage with nothing but the clothes in her closet and a mountain of legal fees. Jake didn't fare any better. Under pressure from federal prosecutors, he turned on Madison, revealing even more details about their scheme. Their love story ended with mutual betrayal, each trying to secure a better plea deal at the other's expense. The last I heard, he's agreed to testify against her in exchange for a reduced sentence. The impact on the influencer industry was seismic. The Madison-Taylor effect, as it became known, led to major changes in how brands vet their partnerships. New regulations were implemented requiring influencers to disclose their personal relationships and financial arrangements. The era of unquestioned trust in social media authenticity was over. As for me, the experience transformed my life in unexpected ways. My company's IPO went ahead as planned, and our value actually increased after the story broke. Investors appreciated how I'd handled the crisis, and my transparent approach to dealing with the scandal earned respect in the business world. I've since started a foundation that works to promote digital literacy and combat online fraud. The most surprising development came 3 months after Madison's arrest. I received a message from a small coffee shop owner named Emma. She'd been one of Madison's earliest victims, losing her savings to a similar scheme years before I met her. We met to discuss her story, and something unexpected happened. We connected over our shared experience of betrayal and recovery. Unlike Madison's calculated perfection, Emma's genuine warmth and authenticity were refreshing. We've been dating for 2 months now, taking things slow and building trust naturally. Looking back at the security footage from our home, which now feels like watching scenes from a stranger's life, I can see all the red flags I missed. The way Madison would perform for invisible cameras even in private moments. How her emotions seemed to switch off the moment she thought no one was watching. The calculated nature of every interaction. The last time I saw Madison was at her bail hearing. Gone was the perfectly curated appearance. No designer clothes, no professional makeup, no carefully staged poses. She looked small and defeated in her prison jumpsuit, her true self finally exposed to the world. Our eyes met briefly across the courtroom, and for the first time I saw something real in her expression. Regret. Sometimes karma works in mysterious ways. Madison wanted fame, fortune, and influence at any cost. Now she has a different kind of fame. As a case study in criminal justice classes and a warning tale in social media marketing courses, her story has become a Netflix documentary, but she won't see a penny from it. All proceeds go to a fund for victims of social media fraud. As I write this final chapter of my story, I'm sitting in my new home overlooking the Pacific. It's smaller than the mansion I shared with Madison, but it's filled with genuine moments and real connections. I've learned that true happiness doesn't need filters or careful curation. Sometimes the most authentic life is the one that never makes it to social media. The perfect revenge wasn't the public exposure or the legal consequences. It was finding freedom from the elaborate lie I'd been living. Madison's karma was losing everything she'd schemed to obtain, while I gained something priceless, the ability to trust and love again, this time with my eyes wide open.